Okay, so she picked me up from the shelter, and so there were bad thunderstorms coming in for Pensacola predicted, and I was worried about leaving Cooper. I didn't want to leave Cooper. She was okay keeping on, but I was like, I think I would have probably had more anxiety than him. So I think God put it on her heart to let me stay there, and everything was sort of starting to, like, seeds had been planted during that sermon in that shelter. I think that was the only reason that I ended up there for that one night. So things were starting to shift a little bit, and I was starting to, like, kind of acknowledge God a little bit. It really wasn't wholeheartedly. And so that was, so the 6th day, the 6th night, the 7th night, the 8th night, Sydney let me stay there. It was the 6th or 7th day that I went to an AA meeting. I was in Pensacola where, and Mick was in sober living at Pensacola, and they were having to go to meetings. So I kind of wanted to see him. God knew what he was doing, but my motives were different. I just needed a hug. Like, I was just having, like, a hard time. And so Sydney took me to this AA meeting, and I was quiet, and but I really got excited. I started to realize, like, these people don't even act like they hate themselves. Like maybe sobriety is not going to be horrible and a constant fight day in and day out. And so anyway, that's what happened the first AA meeting. And then the next night I wanted to go to another one, and Cindy didn't want to let me. And I think this was probably about really like the first time that I really acknowledged God and any kind of interaction with him and being dependent on him, because I kind of cried out to God, not really knowing what I was doing really. And I was like, I really want to go to this meeting, please make a way, like, please change her heart, please. And so she just comes back to the room, and she's like, I don't want to go, but just take my car keys and go. She had known me for a matter of days. She's like, just take the car keys and go. And I was like, heck yeah. So I got in the car, and I was thinking, that has to be God, because she knows I'm coming off drugs. I don't know her. There's no way that she's that crazy, because it was not a trash car. It was a nice car. And so I went to the meeting, and everything started clicking about really that God was in this, and God had me, and so everything had been kind of quiet. It's all a process. It stacks, like we mature in our walk, and so we're at the meeting, and Mick was at this meeting as well, and he was like the second last one to speak, and he starts talking about sharing your story, like don't keep it quiet. Like, you never know what might motivate or change someone's perspective, or it might be validation. You never know. Like, even though you think it's just your story, it's no big deal, you never know what that could impact on someone else's life. And so I remember thinking, he wants me to share, I'm not gonna do that. I'm shy, I'm not gonna do that. So anybody that has been to meetings, there's this term that's coined called double dipping, and I guess it's kind of frowned upon, and so after that I didn't speak, but then someone else spoke up that had already shared and said, hey, listen, we're on this thing together. When newcomers come in, like, there's a lot of advice, but also it's a lot of hope and encouragement for us to keep fighting a good fight. And so it really is encouraging to hear from newcomers. And so then I started getting this physical, like, heat in my chest. And I was like, I don't want to do it. I was thinking in my head, I don't want to do it. And now, in hindsight, I think that was a test for me to see now that I've acknowledged that God was carrying me all that time, but especially right recency bias. Right here, right now, I had everything and a roof over my head and a car to drive to a meeting, and all that was by the grace and the mercy of God. Would I share about it? So it went, this other lady double dipped, and she said the same kind of thing. Hey, listen, some of us been in here years, some of us been here 5 months. We really, when new people come in, we really like to hear and encourage you and be encouraged. So I didn't want to speak. It started coming up in my throat, and I don't even know what I said. I know I felt the tears start coming. I got in trouble because I said drugs instead of alcohol. After the meeting, someone said people don't really like, but you know, I think that's crazy too, because addiction, I know that there's respect for the groups, and I get all that too, but I was brand new, and anyway, and so I said something to the effect of I don't know how or what or why, but God was providing for me, and I did not intend on turning back, and I did not intend on having another attempt at sobriety ever. This would be my attempt. God was with me. He was carrying me. So the next day, that was like day 7 or 8 by then, and then so a day or two later, around noon, I wanted to go to another meeting. Cindy told me no. I went and I prayed again, and the last minute she just comes and goes, here, just take the car again. And I was like, thank you, Jesus, you know. So I went to the meeting. It wasn't a meeting with Mick. It was just a meeting I wanted to go to. I shared, I think, but at that point, it really started to click. Like, God was just all over this. Like, all I had to do was lean into Him, and this was clearly God making a way. So